kind of as we go through this as well. But yeah, appreciate everybody coming together for those that are here with us currently, as well as those that'll be listening to this on the recording in the future. Tremendously thankful for everything that you guys have done over the past season. Really excited. I think we all can say that at this point of the year, getting into some of the data and numbers and really trying to better understand is something we're all itching for. So I hope it's been a great year for you guys. I know it's been an incredible year again for us, and we are extremely thankful. So we're just going to give also a quick little look in here, kind of on some of the things that we've gone over. Just a real brief overview before we actually pull a couple partners in. Again, where are we at in time, guys, right? And what are we looking forward to as far as how do we continue growing and being able to support the growers to the extent that we need, better understanding this product through different applications, right? Different crops. We're in year two now at this point on corn, so very well established at this point. We had a big expansion into the other crops, row crops as well as specialty. But again, your help in us now taking it to this next level was greatly appreciated last year and even more so this year with us being able to take kind of this next leap. So really looking forward to seeing the results, good and bad. You guys know that we're here for it all because it's only going to help us understand it, right? So it's never a failure, but more of just an opportunity to learn. For those that are still getting used to Soltellus, the concept, and how do we position it before we get into the partners and let them kind of speak to some of the highlights that we've seen across the states. A quick little background again on what the foundation here, what we've really built this around as far as the story. Granted, there's so many more pieces that have obviously developed just alone in this last season. But this has been a great foundation for us as a team, and we hope that it's resonated really well, obviously, with you as partners, and then finally the audience, our grower partners as well. So tell us, being this anionic polymer, right? How can we communicate this out to our network to get them to properly grasp this concept? You're hearing so many different things when you're talking about nutrient balances, fertilizers, prices going up, right? And we fit very well into that, as you all know. So the hub of ion exchange, to me really speaks to our anionic polymer ability, right? The core of what we're doing here, talking about it as a CEC, chelating agent, 100 rated for CEC, remembering some of these numbers so that we're able to then distinguish that from more difficult agents like an EDTA that we know is much stronger and then has that potential to maybe not release those nutrients when we need them available. And similarly on the low end, soil particles, how we're seeing these nutrients getting bound there and being able to really pull them to keep them insoluble and then slowly degrading over time. A big one I think that we've also learned this year is really having that right environment. That's a thing we've started talking to a lot, and the hygroscopic capabilities to me does a lot of that, especially when we're talking the soil side. Obviously, the NPK cycling that we've seen pretty consistently at this point is a strong point for us to really be able to talk to, but then taking it the next steps further, and again remembering that chelating, what we're looking at with heavy metals and how those are binding to some of those bigger nutrients as well. Again, that full system approach. And not losing sight, obviously, of these strong agronomic backgrounds that we've developed here. The increase in the polysaccharides, PGRs, oxidants, gibberellins, that biodiversity that we're really trying to impact as a whole. Bacteria and fungi, we've seen increases across the board. So there's a lot of ways that we can then talk about implementing that potentially and looking at complementary packaging, as y'all are aware too. So, yeah, hopefully that's been a good little highlight here. Let's get into the fun stuff because this is what we're all here to do: is learn from each other, collaborate to accelerate. Right? That's what Lygos is built off of. And how did we get here again? Can't thank you guys enough as our partners for what you've really helped us get going over the past year. 20,000 acres a year ago, and here we are now this year closing in on 300,000. I get chills every time I think about it. It's a testament to what you guys have done. Hopefully, we're maintaining that 90% win rate. But don't also, forget that we're here to support you guys in looking for ways to bring new alternatives to the market. So really partnering together to take these next steps and bring that value down to the farm gate. So sincerely appreciate everything again, and looking forward to seeing how this map obviously continues to fill out on both sides. Um, Beyond excited to reintroduce the team. I know that we do have one new member, obviously, that we're bringing into the fold, and we're just going to throw them straight into the fun stuff here. So we'll start there. Actually, Brent Dinger coming on about a month ago now out of Minnesota as our regional sales manager. He's been working with Soltellus already for a year, so excited for him to kind of share what he's been seeing there. Working kind of from the south, then all the way out to the west, we've got Frankie Montalvo down in the southeast, who a lot of you have met. Frankie's now been with us for 6 months, and I feel like I've known the guy for 6 years. Learning every day from him. You know, if there's something that you need to understand better or potentially position with from a fertilizer standpoint, the knowledge he brings is incredible. So again, lean on our team, right? That's what we want you guys also seeing in all this. Niles McGuire moving up to the north there. Niles, not too much I can't say about Niles. You know, seeing pretty much every different product, his on-farm experience, being with us now for over a year, he's seen enough of Soltellus to kind of understand how it's going to fit into these operations with the flexibility that we really focus towards, right? And similarly in Katie. Been on the farm all our life, right? Coming into us from Kansas, so giving us a new look at different types of crops than we've really started. Massive over the last year, and then really starting to kind of bridge our understanding also from an irrigation standpoint. This team, you guys, I can't say enough about them. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. And I also don't want to lose sight of Barb Devine. I got to give her a shout out as well, our senior director of marketing. Behind the scenes, she's the engine to all this too. So appreciate everybody both on the partner side as well as the team. And yeah, without further ado, like I said, let's get into it. So, you know, who do we have with us today? Again, we kind of wanted to round out the map and give you a different look at how it's being utilized in various ways. So you're going to hear from the team. They're going to bring in each of their partners to talk a little bit more kind of to what they've seen this last year, how they positioned, what they've learned, and then what are we looking at doing moving forward as well. So again, I'm going to lean on the team knowing I cannot see the full attendees here. Uh, do we have Brian Frischmeyer in the audience? I know I didn't see him when I got started. Brian, why don't you and I kick this off? Barb, if you could bring Brian in on this one.
Yep, he should be allowed to talk. Brian?
Gotcha. Brian, you there with us?
Yep.
Okay, I think I'm on now.
There he is. Okay, thanks,
There
Brian.
we go. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you joining us, Brian. I mean, you've done this at this point a handful of times, I feel like. So, you know, let's get into it right away. Everybody introducing Brian Frischmeyer here. He's out of central Iowa, just west of Des Moines area there. Brian's been, you know, amazing over the past year and a half that he's been utilizing Sotellus, understanding it, helping us understand it from different standpoints and mechanisms. You know, I think that one of the things I appreciate more than anything when it comes to Brian is just his due diligence and the way that he really kind of goes about trying to understand how this can impact from various ways. And then taking it to another step this year. Brian, you guys, he I think deserves a very big round of applause, at least from our team. I know that Brian was the biggest one out there as far as acres achieved with Soltellus this past season. So, Brian, tell me a little bit about, you know, what got you excited initially when we were talking back at the show. What was it? I think it was the Iowa Ag Expo there. And then how did that kind of develop over time, and how'd you play it this year?
Yeah, I think what got me excited about it is just that it fits into a program. You know, it's if you have a good biological product with fungi in it, it just really fits into those playbooks, you know, really, really well. And then you look at the flexibility of it. You know, if you have guys with starter, you know, you can put put that product in, put Soltellus in starter and really see a great benefit as far as nitrogen availability, cycling nutrients, feeding the fungal communities that are in that starter mix, and really, I guess, living through the year when the crop came up. I mean, it looked like you used honestly, it looked like you used 9 gallons of 9,18,9 when you looked at the roots and you looked at the top growth. It just really jumped out of the ground. Where guys used anhydrous, you really didn't see the streaking, from the banded nitrogen. It really provided enough nutrient there that you got rid of that streaking. Uh, you saw more uniform plants. And now when we go back this time of the year and look at it, we're seeing less tip back on the ears. We're seeing those uniform ears where you used it versus not, and the crop just stays greener. You're I don't think I think in farming, at least in Iowa, one of the biggest nutrients that farmers are short of is soluble carbon. And so you get products like that cycle carbon, your crops just stay greener and they're just healthier. Um, on soybeans, I really had a hole in my portfolio. I really needed, really, people in Iowa were just frustrated with soybean yields in general. And I figured out a way, I guess, to use it in soybeans so that you could really, I guess, in my mind, you need really healthy roots to have high yielding soybeans. Then you need to build structure, and then you got to fill the pods. And really, when you look at Sotellus, with the calcium and potassium that it's chelated in the soil, you can just obviously see where that's translating into bigger roots, bigger stems, bigger branches, more healthier branches. I guess I took some pictures, where we sprayed it post emerge with like Liberty or Enlist. And really in 2 weeks, we had 6 new branches and 4 new trifoliates. And if you just think every node is about another 3 bushels, I guess I've never been around so many 90 bushel beans in my life as I have this fall and 80s. And it just fits into my program so well. And it's not over the top expensive, so budget wise, it fits in. And then functionally, if it's one of those things where if they didn't get it on pre-emerge, they could use it post-emerge and really at about any time. But my advice on soybeans, just make sure it's on before flowering. Then you'll see the biggest bang for your buck.
Really appreciate that, Brian. Yeah. I mean, having walked the fields with you a couple of times there and the pictures that you've been sharing, obviously, that's been, a tremendous help in again, trying to understand a little bit more into the sweet spot, right? We've talked about that several times that the flexibility, I think that that was something initially that gets you excited about the product. But then really trying to drill down to where is this going to fit within, your program that you're putting out there and finding that post was a really strong application for you. I know that's something we're excited to build off of more heading into next year.
Yeah, no, it really was a home run. For a new product that really not many people saw, the data you guys gave us, last fall really came true. I mean, I think there is 8 bushels there on beans.
Yeah. No, that's wild. Yeah, when you start hearing those kind of numbers, very exciting, and hopefully we're keeping up the consistency on the corn up there too, knowing that it's a high producing area.
Yeah, I think when we did the kernel count and the math, I mean, it was around 20 bushels difference.
Fun. That's
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I mean it gives us a good challenge as far as figuring out how do we even publicize that data, right? Because a lot of people are just going to kind of shake their heads at it. So. No, I'm
Yep.
glad to hear the consistency was there for both of them. And yeah, really appreciate you again spreading it out and getting different looks at it this year.
You bet. Thanks for the opportunity.
And while we've got everybody also, you're seeing the partners here, we've got them from the website listed. Um, by all means, I'm not going to overextend myself here. I put this up without them even knowing, right? So be aware of each other's time. But again, that's one of the things that we've talked to each and every one of you about also is what we're building here is a really strong network. So how do we continue to grow together? It's doing things like this. it's collaborating and learning together. And where is it working where maybe I can potentially fit it differently into my program as well. So can't appreciate or can't thank you guys enough as far as the five that we've got joining us here again today. Brian, thank you again for everything. Obviously, the past couple of years, and looking forward to more.
You bet.
Well, let's keep moving. We're going to circle back a little bit east and then go all west. So, Niles, if you're there, let's get Doug on the phone and let's hear what we've got going in Ohio.
Yeah, it looks like Doug is in. So while he's taking a moment to unmute himself, I'll gladly introduce these guys. Buckeye Crop Care, Central Ohio. Doug Hastings and Yvette Federley are on the call. So they are full service retail other than application of dry fertilizer, and they also get to mix and produce and manufacture liquid fertilizers. So they've been a great partner for us to utilize and a great advocate of ours. So Doug and Yvette, whichever, whoever's talking, go ahead and take the floor. Just want to take a moment to introduce you guys and thank you. Doug, if you're trying to talk, it does say you're still muted. Shows that he's on, but it still shows that he's
I
muted. Or move
looks like we
on.
got a vet that just jumped in. Yvette, can you hear us?
Everything looks good on my end, Nick. I think Doug might need to unmute himself. I
They're
don't,
coming in. Yeah.
I don't see Yvette on the call.
I know they were also on the road, so they might be having some trouble.
Okay.
Maybe signal.
Can you hear me? Oh,
We
here we
got
go.
you,
I
Yvette.
can
There
hear
you
you,
are.
Matt. Yes.
Okay.
I'll give it
You
my
guys can jump in at any time.
Can you still hear us here?
Loud and clear. You're good.
We're good to go, Doug.
All right. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So similar to what Brian was saying with some of his experiences, we've seen some of the same results. We probably don't have near the in-depth information, side by side stuff that he has looked at. We kind of step back, and we do this a lot with any new product on how we can get growers to use it because there's so many new products on the market, and getting a guy, especially in today's economy, to say, hey, use this product. You need to try this product. We kind of step back and say, hey, we've got some completed, mainly 2x2 products that we would like to include it in. And Niles and his team did a great job on educating us on the chelation capabilities and some other things that product does. So what we did is we took Soltellus and made it part of some of our 2x2 blends that we have branded, and we sell them as a completed 2x2 product. And that has went over very well. In our market area, the product continues to perform well. And we've just got so many guys that are now, hey, we want that 2x2 product. And we always tell them what's in there and what each piece of that product does. But it's helped us on the marketing side. And obviously, anytime you're with a new product, getting the results is very important.
Yeah, love that. Thank you so much for that input, Doug. And I know that we're coming up on Halloween too, so I think we owe some Reese's cups coming out your guys' way pretty
Yeah.
soon. So,
Yeah.
boy, it's been a heck of a lot of fun. Doug and Yvette were actually the very first group that came to us, a couple of years ago as we were commercially launching down at Commodity Classic. So, seeing what they've been able to do and finding the right blend, percentage and now the audience that's pulling it in is a lot of fun. So thank you both so much.
Well, in all fairness, too, it had nothing to do at first with the product. He had a bowl full of Reese cups out there, and I can't walk by that, and that's how the conversation started. So it's been a very good partnership, and thanks, Nick, to you and your team, everything you've provided. for us, it's been a great partnership, and we look forward to it growing even more.
Likewise. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys very much for coming on again. Apologies for the difficulties, but just know we've all been there, I feel like, within the last 20 minutes. So hang with us, everybody. We'll get through it. No, appreciate you again, Doug and Yvette. Let's head down to the southeast a little bit more, and we're going to have Katie and Frankie actually talk with Calvin Murphy. Calvin's been with us now for the past year, and one of the brighter minds I know that I've ever listened to. So excited to hear his feedback and what he's been seeing and where we're going to be fitting.
Yeah, Katie Patterson, and I'm going to introduce Calvin here, and then Frankie, if you want to ask a few questions and help facilitate that. So I've been fortunate to work with Calvin a few years now. He's an agronomist from Mississippi and owns and operates Milburn Growers, but he's also going to be sharing some of the things that he and Brewer are both seeing in the fields. He works for North Delta Biologicals, and works with all of their trials and the sub dealers that are associated with North Delta Biologicals. So, Calvin, are you available?
Yep. Can y'all hear me?
Awesome. Sure can.
Do y'all want me to share anything?
Anything and everything, Calvin. The good, like I said, the good and the bad. That's what we're here to do today. As we all get to learn from each other a little bit more. Hopefully, there's a lot more good than bad. But yeah, being your first full year looking at it, what's your response been? How you been playing with it, and where do you guys fit it in best?
Yep. So we've done several trials with it across our footprint of North Delta. A lot of our sub dealers have it out. Can y'all see this PowerPoint? Is it coming
Tell you
through?
what, let's see if we can pull it up. Yeah.
I thought it was sharing. It might not come through. Can y'all not see it on y'all's end?
Negative.
I can
Barb,
see it.
you can open up sharing. Katie, can you see it?
I can see it. Can you see it, Katie?
I can see it.
We can see
Yeah, everyone should be able to see it.
Okay.
I can see it as well.
So as I was saying, we've tested and evaluated in several different scenarios this year, whether it's infer, foliar, you name it. Me and Brewer try to do a really good job of trying to break products, if that makes sense. We want to know the bad along with the good. And so we have it in several different scenarios. These are just two locations that I pulled out this morning I'm sorry, they're not very polished. Literally pulled it out this morning out of JD Ops. This is one location of soybeans that we run foliar. One thing we've kind of seen foliar has really been a delight, I feel like, because it's not in a way that you would think that the product's really been performing, and it's just recovery. Uh, at this particular location, this went out at an R3 with a fungicide, and it had several different things in the tank mix with anywhere from biologicals to micronutrients. And we saw 6 bushels at this location. This is up in Tennessee on Johnny. So if you look at the yield map over to the right, you can see down at the bottom that spot there is where the product was not applied. And the only thing that was taken out of it was Soltellus. And you can see in the higher up above it, there's considerably difference from left to right, so to speak. So this is kind of the trend that we've been seeing. Uh, the next one I wanted to talk through, this one's probably a little different for most of your dealers, is rice. I put some out on rice this year with my drone. I just happened to have the product and the drone with me at the time, and I was like, you know what, we're just gonna go out here and just see what it does. And I know it only shows 2 bushels, but this kind of goes back to what I was talking about with recovery. I put this out pre-flood, so the rice is still very small. You can come in contact with the soil, not only the soil, but the plant as well, just to see what it would bring to the table. Nothing else in the tank, and we still saw 2 bushels, so it's still a positive ROI for us in rice. But I think we kind of missed the boat because, as I was talking about with recovery, with a lot of the crops that were or a lot of the herbicides that we run on our crops these days, we typically see that lull after applying some of the herbicides, especially. That crop just takes a while to metabolize that herbicide. And we don't think about that a lot of time, but we saw with the Soltellus, It was just it cut that recovery time in half. If it would take 5 to 7 days to recover, with Soltellus, it would be 3. And it was visually difference that we were seeing. And when you start talking about, well, you only have so much time to grow that crop, say 4 months, a week within that 4 months can be a big deal. That crop is not actively trying to make yield. And that's what we've kind of seen so far, especially from a foliar standpoint.
Amazing. Yeah. I feel like I've got so many things just in those two images to pick your brain on. Yeah, I think we saw really strong ones last year, dry and irrigated. So love seeing that you guys are looking at, the imagery again. And I think I think you're right. That's a real strong response we're seeing right now, our ability to kind of help through those stresses from that flash. But the rice too, Calvin, we've got a lot of chatting to do there. And this is exactly what I was saying, where, your guys' support just as a group has been massive, helping to understand the timings of it, but now also bridging into future crops for us to better understand also. So thank you so much for doing that, and looking forward to chatting more on it.
Yep.
Well, yeah, let's keep moving and let's head back up north a little bit, and let's do Brent. Are you there? Let's do Brent, and go ahead and take it
Yeah,
away. Introduce Don and Dinger Sales and Service.
yeah, I can do that. Hi guys, I'm Brent Dinger, Upper Midwest Regional Sales Manager. Been with Lygos for the last 2 weeks. Going fantastic. I'm here to introduce Don Dinger, owner of Dinger Sales and Service. He's been in the ag industry his entire life, from farming to elevator management to working for Bayer Monsanto, retiring for a whopping 3 weeks, and starting Dinger Sales and Service, where he's focusing on plant health products and how to get the most out of your soil and create the most yield. So from that, he got tied in with Lygos year one. Got a toad up here in Minnesota. He went out and bought 5 gallon pails and got them out to growers in 2 days to get trials out there. And from there, joined the Lygos partnership, and we've been seeing great results ever since and waiting for more to come in. So with that, I'll let Don Dinger take it over and share what's going on in Southwest Minnesota.
Yeah, thanks, Brent. Thanks, Nick. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Yeah, so I've been in the ag business a long time. It's been really fun. It's even going to be more fun. But last year, basically Pivot Bio came to us with the tote and said, hey, we want to collaborate together, learn how this interacts with Pivot Bio Proven 40. So we took it, and I mean, it came really late, but we got some really good trials out. We discovered we have a lot of manure. All the manure on manure trials, or corn on manure trials, were above 10 bushels. So really, really strong data. We didn't have it on any beans. So we took that and ran with it, not just with the test growers, but with several of our growers. We just started doing one-on-ones with them. And with the satisfaction guarantee and $10 an acre, it was very, very receptive. We sold quite a bit. And the key thing that we have is a lot of placements with the guarantee. We're really good at getting them to leave untreated strips. In corn, we have basically 2 quarts in furrow on some acres. We have a quart in furrow, and then another quart at fungicide time. We have some with 2 sprays on, one with weed and feed and one with fungicide time. So a lot of different applications that we're excited to see what happens. Beans the same way. Most things are 2-pass, 1 quart 2-pass, and at various times. So we're excited to see that. We do have one alfalfa trial, and one of the growers really bad at alfalfa because it's choppers, and he walked to the spot where supposedly the flag were. He didn't have it in his monitor or anywhere, and I could see it, and I just let him finally tell me that he could see it. So that part was fun. Early yields, we have like 5 soybean trials out. One the grower was so excited, he just called and said, "Hey, we have 40-acre trials on off in two fields. One was 3.4 and one was 6.2. In soybeans, they were both 1 quart sprayed twice. And he has others, but he also has corn going. So that part's exciting. Saturday, Brent did one a couple of counties away. It was 2.4. And the worst part about trials is trials. I mean, they were cutting it at an angle, and I said, well, make sure when you get to the field, we at least leave the half-mile strips. So guess what? They're cutting at night, cut through the middle of it. So the trial ended up being 45-foot cut, probably 300 yards Brent or something like that. But still good enough to identify a 2.4 bushel win. And then Monday, one by my house actually, was a 3.6. So we're starting to see some good results. Early on in corn, we did some root digs and things like that. And I think the one that Mr. Ryan Winia said that he saw was bigger, thicker leaves. It was a half a leaf further along. And when we dug roots, he's like, look at all the root hairs. It's way different. So we dug some more, and so it created healthier roots, more root hairs, which that's what we're after. Let's get this stuff out of the soil and get these nutrients into the plant that are sitting there and help people's soils work better. So that's kind of what we're seeing. We're excited to get more data and get back out there.
Thank you, Don. Yeah, that was great. And I think one thing that I personally am really excited about with what you guys have been doing up there is year two. So it's really seeing how we do on some of those second year guys and being able to show that this is more than just that flash in the pan, right? Can't thank you guys enough. Yeah, building a
Oh,
big thing up
I got
north.
an important one. So I think Nick, you remember Sean and Becky Fikema.
Yep.
Well, they had some fields in that fancy trial where they do tissue testing every week, and they actually had those trials. They actually did two, one in the Lygos and one out, and they were seeing a lot more nutrition. I'm waiting to get that sheet from him, but I think if I remember right, boron, potash, and what's the other one that he said showed up, Brent?
I guess calcium as well.
So he was fighting boron issues anyway, so he was excited to know that we probably helped pull that in there for him.
That's great. Yeah. And a great call out too. The nutritional side has been something that we've really been trying to focus on more as a team. So trying to build off of, a couple of things that we've seen already coming in this year. Anything that you guys got there is greatly appreciated. And I think that that's actually also a really good segue here because speaking of nutritional, we got a fun one that's just wrapped up out west. So I'm going to hand it over now to my colleague who I didn't get to introduce earlier. Eric Smith is with us from Central Valley, California area, helping us build out the specialty market in the West Coast more. It's been quite the 9 months that he's been on board now, but he's got us established, and a big reason for us getting established also out there is Jeremy Fredericks with Button Willow Warehouse. Jeremy, really excited to have you on board here talking with us today, sharing some of these new things that we're seeing out west. Eric, go ahead and why don't you take it away and introduce Jeremy?
Yeah, glad to be here, and it's been an exciting year out west in California. Been working really closely with my friend Jeremy Fredericks, who is a licensed pest control advisor with Button Willow Warehouse Company. For those that might not be familiar, Button Willow is one of the largest independent retailers in California. And Jeremy also is a grower himself, so he's managing his farm and his family ranch, and we've been seeing some great success on almonds. So I'll turn it over to Jeremy and let him let you know what he's been seeing in the field this year so far. Jeremy, if it looks like you might be on mute still. Barb, are you able to unmute him?
Yeah, he has to do it. He has
Okay.
himself. I've asked him to unmute and send a note. Unfortunately, I can't do it from my end.
We'll give it a minute, no worries. Like I said, we've all been on this, especially flipping between the platforms. Eric, while we're waiting to get him on and chat a little bit more about the almonds, anything else, obviously he's got to, but I just mentioned the nutritional side. You've been tracking a big silage one out west for us again this year, and we had one last year as well. That was a 3.5 ton increase, but trying to take those next steps. What have you been seeing this year?
Yeah, so I literally just wrapped up a dairy corn silage trial that was harvested this past Saturday, in fact, and just kind of prefacing, it was a late planted field that went out. It was planted like late June. The application of Soltellus was put out at side dress at 64 ounces per acre on July 11th, and I came back on, I think it was July 17th. It was literally 7 days later on a Friday, and just took measurements and pictures of the field. And in literally 7 days, the treated was double the size of the control. So it was a little over 4 feet tall, in plants. And you could see the sizing, the diameter just of the plant health alone versus about 2 feet on the control. And just to track that field, with the dairy, the grower will blend 50, 50, 50 in well water versus dairy lagoon water. And just watching that performance has been pretty exciting. I just took silage samples, sent off the lab. We should be getting back those any day now. And I'm actually waiting for the grower to send me the download data on the harvest. But I have no doubt we'll see um, a really good harvest on that field. Possibly, probably somewhere around 3 tons an acre. I'm expecting to see.
Super exciting. Yeah, if that's something that we can not only replicate, but take those next steps, that's going to be massive. We'll keep trying to plug through here for a couple more minutes and see if Jeremy can jump on and share on almonds, but I'm going to keep you moving, Eric, because a big part that we chatted on at the beginning of this too was the foliar aspect. And obviously that's a very big deal out your way. Help us understand as a group kind of how you've been positioning it, some of the things that you've been seeing and ways that you look to position it also in the future.
Yeah, so it's really twofold in California. I mean, foliar is a huge market on the specialty crops. I mean, so many different varieties of crops, in addition to the power Sotellus brings through the irrigation. And so foliar wise positioning is really that chelator aspect and helping helping essentially those nutrients better penetrate and absorb into the leaf tissue. And in some of the data we've seen so far with Sotellus, we've been successful at being able to increase nutritional value. And I'm really looking at it's exciting to see. We haven't quite got all the data yet, but seeing Sotellus's result on many of our specialty grower trials this year. Um, yeah, right now we've got one on strawberries that we're tracking that our agronomist Sean Pelham actually is taking weekly leaf tissue samples on. And we're coming up here on the 4 week marker with that. So it's been a lot going on and a lot of exciting time. Looks like Jeremy might be on and should be able to unmute here pretty quick, hopefully. There should be on the lower right left-hand corner, Jeremy, the audio button that should allow you to unmute, possibly hitting the space bar. Yeah, I can't hear you yet. Um, as Jeremy's working on that, we've also been seeing through the irrigation, and I don't want to steal his thunder. He's been doing a lot of the applications on his ranch through the irrigation uh, process. But we're looking at trials with almonds, pistachios. Had a really successful one with Thompson raisin grapes that was a side dress back in late April, 64 ounces per acre. And the grower actually put it out with KTS. And from that single application, he followed that up roughly 3 weeks later, 3 to 4 weeks later, wanted to put another application of KTS on by itself without Soltellus. And just the visual response of that crop, not just the density of leaves of the canopy within that vineyard, as well as better, larger, more consistent berries was really impressive. Um, I'm actually waiting, hopefully any day now, to be getting the Brix results, which is the sugar content of the berries when harvested, along with the yield data. But I know without a doubt, it was a much heavier yield than the um, untreated portion of that vineyard.
Well, I tell you what, well, Jeremy, keep trying to get in, and by all means, stop me once we get in. I'll be watching for that microphone to flip off. I know how it is with the technicals. We're gonna have Jeremy hopefully back on also wintertime. You guys, we're gonna be running more webinars and stuff, and he does have quite a bit to share, as Eric alluded to there. So knowing that we're getting into the final 15 minutes, we'll keep moving. But again, Jeremy, by all means, jump on if you can, and we'll pick your brain on a couple. Um, so yeah, wanted to also get into a little bit of again positioning, and how do we look to kind of take these next steps together as a group. This has been a big talking point for us as an internal team. How do we as 8 individuals track down 150 plus trials? Not including obviously plenty more that that we're working with growers or different operations that are coming to the table as well. So this gives you a good look, hopefully, at what we're going to have stepping into 2026. You guys know the timing at this point that, a lot of that's going to come obviously later in the year, very likely even into January when we'll be able to have a lot of it put back together. But the goal will be to have another updated ebook that we'll put into place next spring as well. And then obviously being able to cram all these together, put them into some marketing sales sheets, performance sales sheets for
Hey,
you to distribute is the goal. Go ahead, Eric.
my apologies. So we're kind of shortcutting it. So I've got Jeremy on my cell phone that's going to be able to communicate kind of what he's experienced on his almond farm.
I
This.
love it. Yeah, hey, this is what we do. We adapt, right? So,
Yep.
Jeremy, glad to have you with us.
Thank you, thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties here, but we persevere and we adapt and we overcome. So, um, yeah, I've been working with Eric the last 6 months of this year. Eric, like you said before, we've been pretty good friends for the last several years, and so when Eric approached me with Soltellus, definitely piqued my interest, and I'm always looking for new and interesting things on the tree to help them grow better and perform better and just have overall better health. And so we started trialing it back about April of this year. And so we did basically a 3-month trial in the almonds. We have mostly permanent crops out here in California. And so that's a large portion of my portfolio with working for Button Willow. And so I just wanted to kind of see how this product would perform on my own personal farms before I start pushing it out to my growers. I'd like to it's kind of the advantage I have with owning some of my own farm ground, that I can see it before I start putting my name behind it, because that's a big deal to me and some of my customers, is making sure that I whatever I want to sell them, that it's worthy of my putting on my own farm as well. So Eric's been a really good supporter, and we've been working together, and it's been going very well so far. And we got it out. We did about 3 quarts over the course of the late spring, and been very impressed with the results I've seen so far. The overall health of the tree has been just fantastic, and I mixed it in with fertilizer blends throughout the growing season, and I've been very happy with it so far. And I don't have quite all the yields back. They're still waiting for some of them to be processed yet on the almonds, but it looks better than the control so far. And one of the main things I saw throughout the summertime is the reduction in stress on the tree. The trees go through a lot of stress out here in California during the summertime, and it was looked like it was significantly less than the control orchard as well that I have right next door. So things are looking really good. We put a post harvest on a couple weeks ago, so looking forward to doing this for the next couple years, and hopefully seeing some really good results here coming up in the future.
Hey, Jeremy, why don't you speak a little bit to what you've seen on the flowers that we saw, especially in the height of summer, with 100+ temps, and kind of setting up next year for those on the call that aren't familiar with the seasonality of almonds.
Yeah, so in our permanent crops here, we are always looking to the next year. And so the almonds in particular, they start putting on the flower buds for next year. They start differentiating that in about the middle of June, July, and August, and then and a little bit in September as well. And so the trees are going through quite a bit of stress during that time. And the field that we had the Soltellus on, I was really surprised how big and how mature the new buds for next year were looking. And that kind of caught me off guard, because I had never seen them that big before in my years past farming that field. And so I brought that to Eric's attention when we were looking at the field late summer, and he came out and took some pictures. And so that's what's really impressing me, looking forward to next year, that the crop of flowers, because that's a big deal for us. If we can get the number of flowers to increase on the tree, chances are you're going to have a better, higher yielding crop. And so that's very important to me. And then just the overall health of the tree. When Eric and I were walking through the field, you could just see the leaves were just a really nice, big, kind of a deep green color leaf. And that was just really impressive to me, how well the tree was performing under the hot conditions that we usually have out here in the summertime.
Great. Thanks so much, Jeremy. I appreciate your time and being able to join us and jump on the call. And we persevered through the technical challenges. So
Thank you so much. I appreciate all your guys' help.
I'll turn it back to you, Nick.
Awesome. Yeah, echoing all the thanks there to Jeremy. I mean, it's not easy, as all of us can attest to, trying to break a new product into a market, right? So what Eric and the guys are doing out west, too, most of you guys went through it last year. We recognize that, and we're here to support it. So thank you to everybody again for helping us learn and grow together, right? So yeah, again, this is a big part of the future, and how do we keep telling the story is breaking into this data here in the upcoming months. Obviously, the support from you guys as partners is immensely appreciated. Anything that you can funnel our way that we can, again, massage and get a better feel for how are we tracking, predominantly for that 90% win rate. That's something that we want to continue to really try to push towards. And if we aren't getting there, then we got to find out ways. So again, good or bad, we want to know it all. Wanted to make sure that we're sharing a few upcoming key dates here. And while we've got a good 10 minutes left of the call, also any questions that you have, please do put in the chat. We can review a few. And again, I definitely recommend collaborate between each other. That's how we learn how these products are all complementary and different looks in it, packages and programs. So getting into some of these key dates that we've got coming up by now, most of you heard, we are going to switch to an $11 per acre recommended farm gate. Most of the things that we've seen this year gives us confidence in addition to previous years to know that while commodities might not be in the best position, we are still bringing a very strong ROI to the table, right? And this is from so many different ways that you guys have all heard here today. So being able to obviously um, increase it on our end, a dollar an acre on the recommended farm gate is going to come towards the bottom. You'll see a increase that's going to be handed to our partners as well. Most of this I want to be very transparent around understanding how did we do last year as a group. And a lot of this is the shipping side, supply chain, and trying to understand how can we make this flow to be as beneficial in time for all. So always here to have these conversations with you guys to understand where do we need to be at in the market. But collaboratively, we're also hoping that this is positioning each of you to be able to put these into a program, capitalize on the few dollars an acre each. And hopefully that's also then bringing that ROI, that solid ROI down to the farm gate. So the way that I, see this, having talked to a lot of the team and how we're kind of positioning it is we will have the recommended farm gate increase effective immediately. It'll go up to the $11 per 2 quart rate. So again, 550 if you're breaking it down, split application, quart and a quart. And obviously dependent on the program that you're packaging this with. So we know that, we can't necessarily control how this is going to be sold, but us being able to obviously understand this recommended farm gate and how it translates from an ROI perspective is key for our grower partners. So the $11 an acre, again, I recommend we put into action immediately when you're talking about partners and what they're looking at for next year. And in doing so, again, that's going to set each of you up over the next 3 months to get at least a 50 cents or a dollar additional margin that you're able to obtain with the pre-order program. So, we've seen some good interest, and hopefully this helps you guys be able to build off it. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to myself or the team. This is how we learn, this is how we build it together. So, new partner kits, this is a brand new one for us. We want to really thank everybody that's helping us drive this, as partners. So, we're going to get some collateral out, hats. Also looking for input. Each of the regional sales managers will reach out to you. We've got some polos that we're going to start distributing. So now you're all are going to start looking like a little bit more of the Lygos team. And with that being the case, something that I want to make sure that I call it as well is the switch to Soltellus, and that being our lead brand as far as not only what we're going to be wearing on our chests, on our hats, but also, getting the brand equity better understood from a market standpoint with the growers. So they're starting to establish Soltellus as a leading polymer and player in their toolbox. And then the big one again is the start of our webinar that you guys heard me tease a little bit earlier. We'll do another 3-part series this year. Started off internally. We're going to have our brand new scientist, Laura Jalpa, who's in the background listening in. Extremely bright mind, PhD. I plan to position a PhD versus a grower and let her and Niles go at it. I assure you it's going to be feisty. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please share that out. And then obviously as we progress later into the season, we'll have more webinars that'll come into place where we'll look to pull the team. And finally, I think that this is about all I can really say is thank you. Again, I hope I made that very clear that none of it happens without you guys. Everybody here on the call today, I sincerely appreciate it, and we really look forward to next year. So let's open up the floor. Stick around as long as you'd like. I know I will. We'll keep this rolling. We might not be recording still, but questions, answers, let's get this going. Again, this is how we collaborate as a group, right? So if we have any team, please keep an eye on the chats, and we'll give a few minutes here. I just had one come into me here that I'm gonna kind of call out as best as I can here as a group. Lot of foliar talk, it sounds like today. We had Don Dinger that was showcasing a little bit more of that soil action, but we definitely, I think, have found something here as a group with the foliar play. Recommended rate and any compatibility issues. Uh, so that is the question summed up as a whole, and the best way I can really, look to describe that is, again, we're still learning, right? We were hoping that this would be the easy play from a compatibility standpoint. But we did see a couple of things this year, specifically with a calcium chelator and really a couple of other scenarios that came into play where we did have some plugging. So this is something for us all also to be aware of as a group that, the jar test route is still very much recommended. We aren't going to fit with everything. We're trying to test as much as we can. So any questions or concerns that you also have as a network, by all means, also let us know. And this is why we are expanding our team with Laura, as you've heard me mention earlier. I know the team, also the regional sales managers, all typically operate labs out of their own garages. So, anything we can help you guys do to make sure that we've got a good compatibility is key right now. Well, I tell you what, everybody, if we don't have any additional questions, we can wrap this up. And like I said, the contact information has all been shared earlier. It's on the website as well. This was recorded. We'll make sure to share it out to everybody here as well as the other partners that were unable to make it. Um, Team, anything I'm missing here? Well, with that being the case, thank you again to everybody who spent some time with us today. Wishing you all a safe and positive harvest. Let's have a great 26 together and appreciate y'all again.
Yes. Thank you guys very much. And as if anybody has any questions or anything, just feel free to reach out to any of us individually, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have or anything that comes to mind later.